Okay, so we are going to explore the Shop Manager. When you are logged into Etsy.com, it's up here in this corner right here. It's easy to kind of miss the little icon, but there it is. You just click it, and your Shop Manager is where you're going to manage all of your settings and all of the elements of your shop. Everything kind of comes in this central place. So if you don't know where something is in Etsy, always go to the Shop Manager first, and you'll see things like listings, messages, orders and shipping, your stats, all of that information. Now, on the dashboard, which is basically the home page of Shop Manager, you're going to see your stats for the last 7 days. This is the shop that we just opened, so there are no visits and nothing here as yet. We can also adjust the stats if you want on your dashboard. Perhaps you're somebody that prefers to see a whole month at a time or the whole year or even all time. If you're at some point you're on Etsy for 5 years, you might want to see all those stats. That would be kind of cool. I just like leaving it set to the last 7 days because I like looking at my week on Etsy and kind of a snapshot of it. So you'll see your total views, which are the number of people that have seen your shop. These are the visits, a number of visitors you've had. So that's what you're going to have there. And then you'll have the orders. I just opened, so again, no orders yet. And then revenue, how much you have made in profits. You can hit this to view more detailed stats. This is your shop's checklist. When you start getting orders in and they're waiting for shipping or packaging or whatever, you're going to see things start popping up here. So nothing to worry about right now because I have no orders in. These are my number of orders, my newer ones, my older ones. I can view all of them. These are my number of listings, which, as we discussed in a previous video, Etsy does not call your products, it calls them listings. So anytime you want to change anything about your products, you go into the listings section. I just want you to keep that in mind. Now I am going to explore the listings section. I'm going to click this. Now the thing about the listings section, I'm trying to get it to load. Okay, this is going to show you all of your products right here, including your, let's see, that would be your deactivated products, and the ones that are currently for sale. This is my little goal planner that I was showing you in one of the previous videos. Anyways, so we have this, and what you can do is, let's say you have a product and it's doing really well, and you're like, well, I don't have to go through the process of resetting up, adding a new listing over here. What you can actually do is you can click this. You can actually click, I'm sorry, not the editing button. You can actually click, you don't want to select it. You can actually click this little gear icon right here on the bottom. And what you can click is you can click copy. And what's going to happen is Etsy is going to give you this all again, all your information filled out. So you just, like, let's say I have another planner to put in here. I would just change these icons. Even if it were another goal planner, I would just change out the images. Then I would change out the title. Do not keep reusing the same keywords in the same order. I know you think that's going to help your Etsy shop rank well. A lot of people do that. Like, don't have the first product be named Funny Mugs and the next product also start with Funny Mugs. The reason is because then you're just competing against yourself in Etsy listings, and also Etsy ranks you lower when you do stuff like that. So like the first product you could call Funny Mugs, the second product you would call Sarcastic Mugs, the third mug you would call, Dad Jokes Mug, and you would just keep going like that using different keywords in different orders with each title. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Anyway, so you hit copy and you see that I have all of these options that I can save as a draft again, or I can publish the copy. I'm not going to do all that just because I don't need to copy the listing right now. But if you ever have it where you're like, I'm kind of overwhelmed and it's really hard to, make new listings, don't make new listings. Just hit gear icon, copy. Totally simple. Anyway, let's say that I made a typo in here though, and I want to correct it. I would just click on this, and then Etsy will let me change anything I want to about it. I'm going to head back to listings because I don't need to change anything. Let's say that I have decided to stop selling mugs and I'm only going to sell Funny Dad t-shirts because that's what's really selling well in my shop. So I'm going to let go of the mugs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the item and I'm going to hit deactivate, and that will stop it from selling. So I hope that has been helpful there. We can also organize your listings into categories, and I'm going to actually show you this because I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to hit Etsy. That was Bikini Bride. I think that was our shop. Whoops. Bride Bikini on Etsy. Here we go. Bride bikini. Let's see this shop. Now, when you have a lot of products, the bride bikini does apparel, and I previously mentioned them in another one. It had dad t-shirts. Bride Bikini uses sections to make it easy for their customers to shop. So we have swimsuits, tanks, packages, off-the-shoulder tees, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, v-necks, hoodies, sweats. So I can click that. As a customer, this is super helpful because I can pick and sort by products like aprons. Okay, awesome. And I can also do hats and sashes. So basically, I really like sections when you start having a ton of items. You can see here we have 892 items here. So once you start getting a lot of pod products on your shop, definitely consider putting them into categories. Even if you think, well, apparel is my category, you can still break it down even more, as you see here she did with t-shirts, long sleeve tees, hoodies and sweats, v-necks. So definitely think about what your customers would be looking for, what they might want from you, and then put those into your categories here. And the way you're going to do that is on your listings in Shop Manager. You're just going to hit Organize Your Listings. And you're going to hit New Section Title. So you might put like mugs or whatever, mugs. Okay. And then you can actually rearrange these in order. So for example, let's say that she noticed her aprons are selling really well, but the bikinis are not selling as well. She could actually drag this up to the top here, and that's how you would do that. So for example, I'm going to add t-shirts. That's mine. So for example, if my t-shirts start selling better than my mugs, I'll move those to the top over here. And of course, you can go down and do different kinds. You can also delete a section if you want or change the name of it. So I could do mugs for moms. See changes. Then I could do add section, mugs for dads. Okay. And then I might do add section, mugs for grads. So example, I have, let's say, delete section. Let's say my whole shop is all mugs. I could do mugs for mom, mugs for dad, mugs for grad. And I can, of course, let's say, come May and June when, people are graduating, I'll put that at the top. But then come near Father's Day, I'll put dads at the top. All right. So that's basically what you can do. I'm going to delete these sections because I don't have mugs in this shop and I don't want confused buyers. But you can have up to 20 sections. You don't have to use all 20. But I would at least have a few sections once you start having a good amount of products. So just keep that in mind. That's something you can do. All right. Other elements of our shop manager include messages. Now, this is where you can talk with customers and they can talk with you. Maybe, you have this really funny mug for mom and someone's wondering, hey, do you have this in pink instead of just white? So they might send you a message. You can also set up an auto reply here. For example, auto reply on. Okay. This will automatically send as soon as someone messages you. So for example, I might set an auto reply for, hey there, this is an auto response from my sweet sunflower shop. I'm out of the office right now, but I typically respond to messages within 24 hours. If you're asking, let's say I'm getting a lot of questions about sizing. If you're asking about sizing, I have a sizing chart here to help you. Click, and then I would just link. Now I can set the auto reply for an hour so that an hour after someone messages me, this tells them that I will be back to them. And this is really great. I would actually set an auto reply because a lot of people expect an instant response when they send you a message. So I would just set an auto reply for an hour and just be like, hey, I'm out of office, or hey, I'm out of the shop. You don't have to say I'm out of the office. I guess you could say I'm out of the shop right now, or outside of the internet, whatever you want to say. I would set something like that so that people get a response within an hour. You can, again, talk about common customer issues. If you're always getting the same questions, you could definitely talk about that. Anyway, so you can set an auto reply there. You can also just compose to a customer. Look, and they have saved replies and all of that, which we talked about. This is the orders and shipping section. It's where you're going to see all of your orders and what's coming up. And then, of course, you have your stats section. Now, this covers your visits, your orders, your conversion rate, and your revenue. Visits and orders are different. Visits the number of people that stop by your shop. Orders is the number of people that made an order. And then, of course, you'll have a conversion rate. Now, typically, what you're going to see is a conversion rate of 2 to 5%. That's very common on Etsy, and it's not a cause for concern. What it means is a conversion rate is just the number of people that have showed up at your shop and then the number of people that have ordered. So for example, if you have 100 visits and you've had 2 orders, then your conversion rate is going to be at 2%. That's the number of visitors that converted into actual paying buyers. So that's all that conversion rate means. And this is, of course, your revenue, the amount of profits you have made. Now, what I like about Etsy's shop section is that if you scroll down, they have a little how shoppers found you section. Now, Etsy brought 0% of my visits. Well, my shop just launched. I'm not surprised that I have 0 visits. But what's cool is it shows you how many people are coming through the app, how many are coming through Etsy search, and how many through their marketing and SEO. All of that can be very, very helpful information, because if you know you're getting hundreds of visits, but only 2 people came through Etsy search, that means you need to optimize something about your listing, probably your keyword title. All right. Also, the percentage of visitors. This is, I find, really cool. It's direct traffic, direct and other traffic. These are people who actually went and typed in your Etsy store, like etsy.com/shop/my sweet sunflower shop. If people click that, then that's a direct hit. But social media, actually, they'll break this down by Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. So let's say that I'm getting thousands and thousands of visits from Instagram, thousands and thousands of visits from Pinterest, but only a few visits from Facebook, and only a few visits from Twitter and Tumblr. That would tell me to focus my marketing efforts on Instagram and Pinterest. It would tell me to stop spending as much time on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr because they're not as effective. And it would tell me to focus on these 2 platforms. So that's why I really like the stats and how they break down your social media. Instagram and Pinterest are usually very popular with the Etsy crowd. So I would definitely focus a lot of your marketing efforts on there. But if you notice that, hey, I'm not getting a ton of traffic here, but I'm getting a lot from Facebook, then focus on Facebook. Just use this information to market your shop more effectively. And of course, there are Etsy ads, which Etsy does automatically for you. You don't have to worry about that. It's risk-free advertising, and it's awesome. And this is just going to show you how your listings performed, how many people have favorited, how many have gotten orders, and this breaks it down by product. And that's what I think is really cool. Let's say I had 20 products on here, and this would show me which product's generating me the most revenue. If I have products on here that I've had for 6 months and they're not selling, I might go, okay, I'm going to go through and deactivate that listing. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that's kind of gonna rank you and show you which of your listings are most popular and which work best. So that is what your shop manager looks like. And you can, of course, go back to the main page at any time by clicking dashboard. You can also search if you have a specific question.